they who are here, and good morning to South Africa, particularly here in Gauteng. Good morning to Gautengers. To those who we have not seen this year, Happy New Year. I am partly from Limpopo, and they say in Limpopo, they say Happy New Year until June. So bear with us. We will be saying Happy New Year for a while. My name is Lerato Ngobeni. I'm the National Spokesperson of ActionSA. Today is another momentous press conference of ActionSA. We started, I think people will remember, we started with the announcement of the Deputy Mayor of the city of Tshwane, and we're now on our second one. We're on a roll. ActionSA doesn't stop. We keep these things coming. And so thank you so much for always being here to have our word go out to the country. This is an important year, as everybody knows. It is 2024. We are waiting with bated breath for the day that the president will announce the election. And so we were hoping, crossing our fingers, that would have been last, was it Thursday or Friday, when we had the SONA, but unfortunately that did not happen. So we've got another couple of days to wait, and so we're waiting for that with much anticipation. At the table here on my left, I have the National Director of Operations, Mr. John Moodey, who's also a member of our Senate. And to my right, needs no introduction, is the President of ActionSA. Colleagues, we are here this morning to announce 3 big individuals that are going to be representing ActionSA as premier candidates for the Eastern Cape and the Free State, as well as Mpumalanga. We have already announced the Northwest. We've announced Limpopo. We have announced KZN, KwaZulu-Natal. And I know that you're already sitting, waiting. Northern Cape as well, we've announced. I know that, people are sitting on their chairs waiting for Gauteng, but that will come at a different time. You know that Gauteng is much contested ground. It's the battlefield for 2024, and we are not going to skimp on Gauteng. And so we're very much ready for that. The way that this is going to run, this is the last time you're going to see me until the Q&A. We're going to have President Herman Mashaba give us the context and tell us why we're here, and give you a proper, deeper breakdown as to the individuals that the party has resolved upon to represent us in the different provinces. And then after that, the individuals will come to the table, and each of them will make their presentations. After that, we will take your Q&A. Thank you very much. With that said, I welcome President Herman Mashaba.
Good morning, fellow South Africans, in particular members of the media, for always giving us this platform to be able to really communicate with our fellow South Africans. Fellow South Africans, we are gathered here this morning to take another leap forward in building a credible alternative to the failed political establishment to fix South Africa, our country. This morning, we are putting to action by announcing premier candidates for 3 provinces which other political parties have neglected or taken for granted. 3 provinces which form the backbone of South Africa's economy and national identity, but have failed to reach their full potential due to the corruption and mismanagement of our current government. The candidates we are announcing today embody the value of ethical leadership, which ActionSA was founded on when ActionSA was founded 3.5 years ago. They come from diverse backgrounds and bring a wealth of knowledge and experience, which will be invaluable as we work to fix our country. And I do not doubt that they represent the caliber of leadership needed to turn around our 3 provinces. Announcing these candidates today shows serious ActionSA is about taking on the established political parties in the upcoming elections to disrupt the status quo and bring hope and action to communities long forgotten. My fellow South Africans, this year, for the first time in a democratic South Africa, the real opportunity exists to remove the ruling party from government and replace it with a government that puts the need of South Africans first. For the very first time since 1994, South Africans have had the opportunity to try something new from which they've been failed in the past. We have the opportunity to elect a new government which can end load shedding, create millions of new jobs, and restore the rule of law, which have broken down under the ruling party's control. But for that to happen, it will require patriotic South Africans to take action to remove the ruling party from power. To bring about positive change, we have to be bold. We have to be courageous. We have to try something new. We have to take action. ActionSA is leading this march towards positive change in our country, South Africa. The announcement of our premier candidates today is the next step in ActionSA's growth since we were launched 3.5 years ago, exactly 29th of August 2020, right in the middle of COVID. When ActionSA was born at the height of COVID-19 pandemic on the 29th of August 2020, we were born with a mission to remove the ruling party from government and fix South Africa. We set out a program of action that would build up to ActionSA contesting all 9 provinces in the 2024 national elections. All across South Africa, voters have been inspired by the message of ActionSA has to offer. In 2021, over 550,000 voters chose us to represent them in the 6 out of the 278 municipalities we contested, making us the 6th largest political party nationwide as a result. Remember, fellow South Africans, we contested as a logo. Compliments of the IEC made us to contest it as a logo. And in every single municipality we contested, we dramatically reduced the support of the ruling party, giving many voters the alternative they were looking for. Since the municipal elections, ActionSA's across the country have been hard at work. We appointed 9 provincial chairpersons, set up structures, launched branches and daily work to spread the message of hope ActionSA had to offer. In September, we hosted our inaugural policy conference where over 600 delegates from across the country adopted innovative and pragmatic solutions to fix South Africa. From ending load shedding to the first real alternative to the failed BBBE Act of 2003, ActionSA has a plan to turn around the decay and steer the country towards prosperity. When we launched our national manifesto in March, South Africans won't hear pie in the sky dreams, but a practical plan of action for the first time when we step into office. Since we were founded 3.5 years ago, ActionSA has today grown into an organization with over 250,000 members nationwide. In fact, if I'm not wrong, I think a few days ago, I got a figure of 270,000. Over 1,500 branches have been launched in 9 provinces, with the aim to have launched 60% of branches nationwide by the time we contest the national elections this year. This is no small feat. From Makhanda in the Eastern Cape to Middleburg in Mpumalanga, from Ngoma in KwaZulu-Natal to Mossel Bay in the Western Cape, ActionSA's ActionSA's have actually been moving. This, fellow South Africans, is just the beginning. Let me be clear, ActionSA is ready to contest elections. We look forward to the proclamation of an election date by the President soon. In storehouses across the country, we have millions of posters ready to be flighted as soon as election date is proclaimed by the President. We have trained thousands of activists to keep oversight at voting stations and thousands more to spread the message of ActionSA countrywide. And we have recruited some of the best people in the country to represent South Africans in the provincial legislatures and in the National Assembly. Our candidates have undergone rigorous testing, from formal written testing to panel interviews. Our candidates have proven themselves worthy. And many have heard the call, and many have made themselves willing to contribute to the project to fix our country, South Africa. I look forward to surprising many of you in the weeks when we announce the high-profile South Africans we have decided to join ActionSA to represent our people in the legislatures countrywide. When ActionSA goes to Parliament, we will have, without any doubt, real depth of expertise unlike anyone that has been offered up to today. We will be sending people to legislators who don't just talk, but have done the work. People who are ready to take action and do what is right for the country. Fellow South Africans, it therefore gives me immense and great pleasure and joy to announce premier candidates for the Eastern Cape, Free State, and Mpumalanga. Candidates who are ready to bring positive changes to their provinces. The announcement today follows the appointment of Kgosi Mangope as a Northwest Premier candidate, Zwakele Ngongo as KwaZulu-Natal Premier candidate, Andrew Law as our Northern Cape Premier candidate, and Kgosi Litsiri Patla as our Limpopo Premier candidate. Since the announcement of these candidates last year, they've been hard at work to show voters what they've had to offer compared to the current failed political establishments. The candidates who are announcing today will follow in their footsteps. They all hold impeccable professional credentials and have proven themselves to embody ethical leadership. They hold governance experience to hit the ground once elected and have long been active in communities they serve. In no particular order, I'm happy to announce the following ActionSA Premier candidates. Let me start first to ask to come forward. I'm happy to announce Toko Mashiane as our Premier candidate from Mpumalanga. Toko, good luck. You need luck. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Mashiane is a former municipal manager and a former provincial women's leader of the ruling party. She has had over the past few months proven herself able to quickly build structures in Mpumalanga and have been able to reach far-flung regions of the province. She brings with her governance expertise in a province which have been plagued by breakdown in the rule of law, including open borders, unreliable service delivery, and where the poorest have fallen victims to the VABS scandal. In the Eastern Cape, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to announce Athol Trollip as our premier candidate for the Eastern Cape. Thank you. Thank you so much. Fellow South Africans, Athol Trollip as a mayor of Nelson Mandela Bay Metropolitan Municipality. He brings with him invaluable understanding of governance in a province which have been hollowed out by the ruling party. He knows how to efficiently run an administration and will therefore be able to hit the ground running to fix that Eastern Cape province. Trollip has a long history of activism in the Eastern Cape and all throughout the country and brought that knowledge to ActionSA, where he helped launch hundreds of new branches and established a formidable ground operation to take on the ruling party. Thank you so much, Athol, for what you've really done for the people of the Eastern Cape. It now gives me great pleasure to announce our next candidate, Patricia Kopane from the Free State. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Patricia Ngobeni, a former nurse, has in-depth knowledge of South Africa's broken healthcare system, having served as a Shadow Minister of Health and on the Portfolio Committee of Health in the National Assembly. In a province where state capture crippled the state, Ngobeni will be able to bring the practical solutions necessary to restore frontline service delivery, to improve the lives of all residents living in that province. During her time in Parliament, she has proven herself as a true corruption buster, something which the Free State sorely really needs. And I hope we're going to live to that. Fellow South Africans, our plan, as communicated, was to announce the Western Cape candidate today. But in consultation with the Western Cape PEC, we took the decision last night to postpone the announcement and do it alongside the announcement of our Gauteng candidate. In the Western Cape, there's a great chance that ActionSA will be part of a provincial government after the upcoming elections. It is therefore important that the opportunities presented to us by the PEC should not really be ignored. So we decided to announce it in 2 weeks' time with Gauteng. Furthermore, Gauteng holds strategic importance for ActionSA, and we therefore believe it best to wait to announce our premier candidate for the province at a standalone briefing now in conjunction with the Western Cape in 2 weeks' time. This is because we believe in Gauteng exists strong chance of unseating the party through a coalition, including actually the probability of ActionSA achieving an outright majority. And we're going to work towards that. So you must not really be surprised that the current premier likely with very big chance of being the last premier to serve under the current government. Several thousand activists have been working tirelessly in Gauteng over the past 3 years, led by a provincial chairperson, very capable colleague, Ngobeni. During the 2021 local government elections, where we only contested in 3 out of the 9 municipalities, ActionSA achieved just under 11% of the province. I don't know if you guys, South Africans in the media, were aware about it. Residents of Gauteng are ready for ActionSA provincial government, and we are excited to soon tell voters the person we believe are best fit to lead this province. You know, it's something that I always actually share with journalists, with media, with fellow South Africans in various platforms. People don't understand that ActionSA only contested 3 municipalities out of the 9, but we emerged with just under 11%. Unbelievable. When you look at, always challenge everyone to say, look at what the experts you used to invite on your platform as the media. They said if the Stokvel of Mashaba, if they get 3 councillors in the city of Johannesburg, they will be lucky. Forget about the rest. I thought I'd just share this with you. ActionSA has got 44 councillors in the city of Johannesburg. We are the 3rd biggest political party in the city of Johannesburg with 16% support. We brought the ruling party in 2016 when I was the mayor. We brought them down from 124 councillors. Currently, they're sitting with 90 councillors. We brought the DA, which I was representing in 2016 when I was a mayor. We were 104 of us as councillors. Today, they now got 71. Followed by who? The Stokvel of Mashaba, 44 councillors. You know who follows Mashaba? The party that fills a stadium, one stadium after the other. They are the 4th. You know with how many councillors? Way behind with 29 councillors. So what does this say? We listen and read about the polls and experts are giving us their analysis. One thing that is beautiful about the IEC process, when they count votes, they don't care how many times you fill stadiums. They just don't care how many, how you were worshipped by propaganda of polls. They count the people who came out to vote. And you follow the 9 by-elections that ActionSA has contested in. All the 9 of them, we get roughly 10% in rural areas, be in Limpopo, deep KZN, Eastern Cape. We get roughly 10%. We are either number 2 or number 3 in all of them, in rural areas, in the suburbs. No political party has ever achieved such performance. So, colleagues, coming back to the 3 provincial premier candidates announced today, they represent the caliber of leadership ActionSA present to voters in the upcoming elections. So I present to you, colleagues, to the voters. Their marching orders are clear. The months ahead, they will have to work tirelessly in their respective provinces to bring the message of hope ActionSA has to offer to communities long forgotten by established political parties. They have to be active in both rural and urban areas and have to be visible to guarantee that voters have heard ActionSA's message by the time they head to the polls later this year. Because our experience has taught us that when people hear ActionSA's message, they have proven likely to change their vote as they've done in the 2021 local municipal elections, including the by-elections I've just mentioned. The choice to voters this year is clear. Do we continue to do the same thing by voting for corrupt, unethical, and patriotic leaders, or leaders who have proven unable to turn around the decay in their provinces and instead have taken things from bad to worse? Or do we do something new, be brave enough to try something new and vote for an alternative that have proven it to be able to bring action to the communities they serve? New leaders who bring with them the necessary experience to root out corruption, restore the rule of law, and improve the lives of all South Africans. This year, real change is possible in South Africa by removing the ruling party from power and voting to fix our country. But for that to happen, it will require that patriotic South Africans take action to vote to remove the ruling party and vote for the credible alternative that has proven itself able to fix South Africa. Because only if we take action, we will be able to take South Africa forward. Thank you very much. I think let me give my colleagues an opportunity to address you, to give you the sense of what they represent from their respective provinces. I'm happy to start with Patricia on my right. And come over here. Thank you very much from my side, and we'll take questions afterwards. Thank you so much.
Dumelang, good morning, goeiemorgen, molweni. Today I'm excited and I'm proud to be in this family that we call ActionSA. And I'm proud to announce that today I've been nominated as ActionSA, a Free State Premier candidate, and I'm entrusted with the responsibility to lead the 2024 election and to deliver our offer to fix the Free State province. Mr. President, I accept this nomination with humility and with honor. And it is clear in my mind that ActionSA, it is the only viable alternative to this failed incumbent government that is in the Free State now. As we work towards growing our organization nationwide, there is definitely no doubt that ethical leaders will add value to save our country and to unseat this cruel government and the uncaring government that we're having in the Free State. Let me talk about corruption. It is said Free State is a beautiful province, but today, where I'm sitting right now, I can't say Free State is a beautiful province. We have become a province that is like a monument of corruption. If you talk about a monument of corruption, you talk about Free State. If anybody knows the birth of the Guptas, it happened in the Free State. You know what happened to Estina. Even today, where I'm sitting right now, we lost more than 200 million through the Guptas, through the Estina dairy farm. But today, the beneficiaries, they didn't have anything. I'm so sad that last year, it was just a PR exercise where the former premier Sintombela, he gave the people just the certificate to say they're the beneficiary. But today, they still don't have anything. They are only giving food parcels and 1,300 rand once a year. They don't even know what is happening there. So, as ActionSA, one thing that we are going to do to fight corruption, I've already started to compile a list of about 1.6 billion projects that were never finished, that were created by the former Premier Ismail, who's today he's claiming he's going to save South Africa. But we know very well he's the one who destroyed the Free State, who stole the money from the Free State. I've already compiled that list, and I've already written to the National Treasury to request them to invoke Section 28 of the Prevention and Combating of Corruption Activities Act of 2004. And by so doing, which means I'm requesting them to blacklist all the companies that stole money in the Free State, so that they must never have a business in the country of South Africa. So the provinces in the Free State, they have been used to source, or to loot money to benefit the politicians. But the people of the Free State remain poor. They remain homeless. They don't have houses to stay. As I'm sitting here right now, Free State has about 11,000 backlog of houses. But it is a shame that 600 million was taken back a few months ago to the National Treasury because it couldn't be used, because we're having incompetent politicians, even the officials that are just there to steal the money. But this time the question was, they couldn't appoint the one who will steal this money. So the money returned to the National Treasury, 600 million, while people are homeless in the Free State. And all this happened during Ismail Hachuli's time also. In the Free State, we need committed, ethical, professional public servants in order to succeed with our vision of fixing Free State. We will declare corruption as public enemy number one. That is our goal as ActionSA. And we will prosecute those who are corrupt, will prevent further corruption through improved controls and oversight. And we encouraged the South African people to stand up and to go and vote these groups out and to vote ActionSA into power. And we will make sure that the whistleblowers, they are protected as one of the things that we are going to do. And we do believe that no one is above the law. Both the political office bearers, the senior officials working in buildings and in approvals, will make sure that even those who are doing who are involved in supply chain management, who are going to do, where they will be subjected to regular lifestyle audit, because that's what we need to do. It is a shame that in the Free State we have a mayor who is supposed to be earning almost like a 90,000, only 1 million per year, but he managed to stay in a house that cost about more than 5 million. So where did he get the money? So if the lifestyle audit is conducted, we will be able to root out the corruption. As ActionSA, will make sure that the state institution will be managed and staffed by highly qualified and ethical and committed public servants who will operate with a high degree of professionalism and a care and a sense of duty, because that's what we are lacking now. And I will definitely do away with the cadre deployment because it's the root cause of why people in South Africa, they are so poor, why there's poor service delivery. One thing that we are going to do as ActionSA in the Free State, we will make sure that there will be an amendment, we'll lobby that there must be an amendment to the Constitution to establish an independent Chapter 9 anti-corruption agency that will be specialized in addressing and fighting corruption. So the people who will be in that office, there will be people who are trained to fight corruption. And we'll make sure that that body will be independent from influence of political interference, and it will be well resourced so that those people, they will do their job. We will also make sure that that body will also get their funding from Parliament. It will also be appointed by Parliament, not by the minister, because currently, how can you report to somebody that you are investigating? So definitely we are not going to get anywhere, but we are going to make sure that we fight corruption, because corruption steals from the poor people. Poor people are there not because we don't have money, but it's because of corruption. So if there is a corruption in the department, it steals from the poor people. And we will ensure that all the resources meant for the public, they must benefit the people, not the politicians. Currently in the Free State, according to the Auditor General, she revealed that not a single municipality in the Free State, they've scored a clean audit. And this happened in about 6 consecutive years. It is a shame to the people of the Free State. In the Free State, out of 18 municipalities, at the beginning of the year, last year, we lost about 172 million. That was taken back to the National Treasury. That money couldn't be used because we have incompetent people. That is a money that could have been used for service delivery. So as ActionSA, we will make sure that we appoint people who are credible, who will make sure that things are happening. It is so sad that we have one of the beautiful region or a municipality, Malutiapofu, Kwakwa, with beautiful mountains. But today that municipality is on the brink of collapsing. That municipality owes Eskom 7.2 billion. That municipality, since its establishment, it never had a clean audit. It has always been the disclaimer. That municipality managed to spend the taxpayers' money, but they can't even prove, even with the receipt, they can't even prove even the product that they claim they've bought. That municipality knows load shedding since its establishment. Load shedding is not something new in Kwakwa. Businesses are closed down because of the poor management of this municipality. This is the very same municipality that they've employed a mayor who can't even read the speech or let alone to write anything. So it is clear that ANC is not a caring government. They are not serious about solving the problems of the people of the Free State. I have another municipality that is also beautiful. We call it Machabeng. Other people, they know as Velcom. One of the pillar, the strength of our economy in the Free State in Machabeng was mining. We had a lot of mines in the Free State, but today Machabeng is one of the poorest, municipality. Machabeng municipality owes the water boards more than 5 billion. They owe Eskom more than 5 billion. The same municipality, their assets, the debts, they are more than their assets. So if it was a business, it should have closed down long time ago. There are many allegations towards the mayor. I've laid criminal charges. I've written to the public protector, but the ANC, they are not doing anything. The same municipality, we have a town that we call it Allen Ridge. It's a small, beautiful community, small area. On Friday, I'll be taking the president to Allen Ridge. You know what happened? There are 2 sewage pump stations that has collapsed. There is water that comes from the mine. So the people, actually about 400 families, their houses are immersed in a sewer. So which means these people, they live in an area where they are now, the area is not habitable for anyone to live there. So as ActionSA, we'll definitely make sure that we are going to change things. And lastly, colleagues, I just wanted to say to you, under ActionSA governance, we will make sure that in the rural communities, we have access to opportunities and service delivery is going to be delivered. And under ActionSA Free State, we will ensure that the dormant industrial capacity, it is being revived, jobs, they are created for youth. Many factory shops, there are many factories, they are closed in the Free State. You go to Busabelo, they are closed. You go to Kwakwa, they are closed. You go to Tabanchu, all the factories, they are closed. But under the ActionSA, we are going to open those factories, give it to the people. And ActionSA will make sure that we run a clean governance that is accountable to the citizen and responsible to the decision that we make. And I commit to you today that I will take up the fight of corruption and make sure that those who have made our people to be poor, those who have destroyed our country, because currently no one is willing to invest in the Free State because of corruption. The investor confidence is gone. So, but with ActionSA, we're going to make sure that the investors will come and invest and save our province. Thank you.
We will now have the incoming Premier of Mpumalanga, Ms. Mashaba.
Good morning, South Africans, and good morning, people of Mpumalanga, my home province. Especially good morning to people of Barberton, where we have a Makonjwa mountain, which is a World Heritage Site, but it's not visited by anybody. I'll explain why people are not going there. Mr. President, thank you so much. I humbly accept the nomination to be the premier candidate of Mpumalanga. And I promise you, President, Senate, and the people of Mpumalanga, that I will do my best, more than what I've been doing all this time, to make sure that we change Mpumalanga to be the province of the rising sun. Because as it is now, the sun is no longer rising to the people of Mpumalanga, because it's always dark in Mpumalanga, it's always night in Mpumalanga, when we have 13 power stations around Mpumalanga, and when we count 332 days that we don't have electricity, which is almost an entire year without electricity, when we say we are the manufacturers of electricity in Mpumalanga. Despite the population of 4.72 million people in Mpumalanga, according to the latest stats, we are the third unemployed province in the 9 provinces with 36.1%. As I initially said, that Mpumalanga was known for its mining, was known for its tourism. Tourism is dead in Mpumalanga because of security, roads, and a lot of things that is not happening in Mpumalanga. That's why people are unemployed today. ActionSA has been hard at work around the province. We have launched in all the constituencies that are there in Mpumalanga, and I want to thank the PEC of Mpumalanga, the RECs, the branches, and the activists who are always on the ground, knocking on people's doors, giving them hope, so that people must know who to vote when the national and provincial elections come. People are accepting ActionSA because of our policies. Remember, we spent 3 to 4 days in Birchwood carving our policies. Our policies were not made somewhere in Europe or wherever and given to us. Our own people were there participating in those things, in the policy conference. Let me highlight some few things that are important to ActionSA and to me specifically that we've achieved as Mpumalanga. Last week, on the 5th of February, we all know the Lily Mine issue. On the 5th of February, the President and some members of the Senate went to Mpumalanga to commemorate 8 years of that tragedy, which we we must call it murder. And what broke my heart, what brought tears to my eyes, on the very same day, our president of the country was opening and mining Indaba in Cape Town. He never mentioned a single word about Lily Mine. He never, in fact, he can't say he forgot because he spoke about mining in Mpumalanga. So he should have remembered Yvonne, Solomon, and Preet, but he never, because he doesn't care. During their celebration of 8th January, he was in Mpumalanga. He passed Lily Mine to lay a wreath on the grave of Mabuza. He never even greeted those families who are living in the tents. He did exactly what his secretary did last year on May 1, where he passed those poor families under the tree without greeting them and went up the hill to announce that the container will be retrieved. I'm happy that as ActionSA, through our president, we are helping those families, and we are going to help them until that container is retrieved and that mine is opened, because our people are looking for jobs. And there are 2 mines there who are under the business rescue. So we're pushing for that. There are 2 court orders that from the Constitutional Court and from the Mbombela Court, where Mbombela Court said 3 people must be prosecuted. Firstly, Vintage Gold, the owners. Secondly, the Department of Minerals and Energy. Thirdly, SAPS, because SAPS is allowing those Amazamas to continue mining in that mine. So really, I was disappointed. I've never seen ukungabi nobuntu like what I saw on the 5th from the speech of the president. Now, as I said, Mpumalanga is a hub of electricity. But we don't have electricity. As the newly appointed, my first job president, on Thursday, I'm going to Kusile, because Kusile is in Witbank. I'm going to check what is happening, to do oversight there. I will go there and I'll make sure that I get answers. They'll have to give us answers as South Africans. We're going to eliminate the issue. Remember, Kusile is using coal. And there are people, there are cabals who are giving Eskom coals. And some of the coals are of lower productivity. And they are using it because it's their friends. So we want to check who is given those tenders and why are they still having the tenders for 10, 15 years when other people are looking for it. Our energy policy is not just a document. It is a testament to solve and turn all these things around, so that we also allow for alternative energy, which are not for friends, which are not for cadres, but for everybody who can give it to us. What we have also done, because Mpumalanga, it's not only Free State that is corrupt. Mpumalanga is corrupt to the key. So we have reported the government, the department to the Human Rights Commission. Firstly, we reported Chongwe Hospital. In Chongwe Hospital, they don't, when it's load shedding, they don't even have a generator. They close the doors. They can't do anything. And they don't have medicine. They have doctors in their payrolls who are not working in that hospital, who are having their own private consulting rooms. We've reported Deepdale community water crisis. Those people are drinking water with animals. We went there and saw those things. Same in Bushbuck Ridge. We've reported there's a hospital in Middleburg. It started some 5 years ago. Number one, where the hospital is built, the poor people won't be able to reach that area. You don't know whose farm was it that they bought that land from. And that hospital, it's escalating in price every day. It started at 400 million, now it's at 1.2 billion. But it's still not finished, and you don't know what's happening with that one. We've reported the overcrowding of schools in Mkondo. You know, I was a teacher in my previous life, teaching maths and science. Having 30 learners in a class was too much. But I was surprised now that teachers are teaching 80 to 90 people in one class, and they're not paid enough. That's what also that was saying as Action SA, that teachers must be paid a decent salary for the decent work that they're doing. No wonder we have so much low results on matric. Those teachers are suffering. I'm telling you, I've been a teacher. There's no individual teaching in those classes. So as Action SA was saying, teachers must be paid. School inspectors, when we grew up, we had school inspectors, and the SGBs must do their work. They must not be a political party in the school, and SATU must give teachers a chance to teach and the children to learn. So this is all the things that we have reported. And we have also reported some other things to the public protector. There's a Schoeman-style stadium that started when I was still a municipal manager. That's why I had to follow it up, because I signed those appointment letters. But that stadium is not there. It's only the ablution blocks that is there. So we've reported it to the public protector because I have inside information. I signed those appointment letters of those contractors. We've also, in Mpumalanga, you know, it's a joke. You find a department, a serious department in the province sponsoring beauty contests when people don't have food, when people don't have work, when people don't have housing. We've reported that, and that was given to one company for the past 12 years. And we've also reported the issue of, to the public protector, also the hospital that I've already said, we've done that. We, as the president said, we're being surrounded by two borders, the Swaziland and Mozambique border. I went to the border of Mozambique last week. I found that on the side of South Africa, in front of the immigration officers, in front of the SAPS, those stalls are being manned by people from Mozambique, no one from South Africa. And we come here and we cry that people are unemployed. They're not giving business opportunities to people outside the province. I invite people of Mpumalanga to take control of their province, not by burning tires, not by burning infrastructure, but by voting and voting correctly. And their only hope is Action SA. Give us a chance, we'll show you what we are going to do, and Mpumalanga will never be the same again. President, I promise you, I'll do my best that Action SA change the lives of the people of Mpumalanga. Thank you.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much, Premier Togomashiane. And finally, Umhlekazi for the Eastern Cape, Mr. Ethel Troy.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. I feel that I'm sitting on a really hot seat here, but I'm sure that that's a portent of things to come. I must say that I'm also humbled by the confidence that my party has shown in me to nominate me to this position of being a premier candidate for Action SA in the Eastern Cape. I'm inspired by listening to my two formidable premier candidates for the Free State and Mpumalanga, who have a real understanding of the issues that hold their provinces back. It's an indication of people who have a passion for where they live. And equally, I must say that I'm inspired to be here because of the inspiration that I get from my party president, who is inimitable in his work ethic and his commitment to fixing South Africa. I'll share something with you very quickly. When Herman Mashaba asked me to join Action SA to help him fix South Africa and to fix the Eastern Cape in particular, we had a 4-hour-long meeting, and he did his very best to convince me. But at the end of the meeting, I said to Herman, look, I've been involved in politics for 29 years. I've had enough. And he looked back at me and said, have you done enough? It was like he'd kicked me in the solar plexus, because the answer to that is, if you live in the Eastern Cape, we haven't done enough. I haven't done enough. So I'm here today in this hot seat. I come from a province that calls itself the home of legends. The tragic irony about that is that there are ANC leadership legends that come from their province and other amazing leaders through the time of history. But their following generations are in the Eastern Cape, impoverished and hopeless. So, it remains mired in corruption, controversy, and it languishes at the bottom of every imaginable, measurable performance index that you can think of. It is absolutely clear that the ANC in the Eastern Cape is overwhelmed in government and that the ANC deserves much better than it has. It's a province endowed in beauty and vast agricultural and marine wealth potential, yet our people face record unemployment, are involved in other provinces and other parts of the world to seek jobs. I bet you if I asked the people in this room that half of them would be from the Eastern Cape. And anywhere you go, you will find people from the Eastern Cape running away from poverty, looking for greener pastures. What do? Those people that leave the Eastern Cape, they leave dislocated families at home, woman-headed household, child-headed households who depend on meager state subsidies and their family members sent home to them. The Eastern Cape is not what the President spoke about in his State of the Nation address. That is Eastern Cape, and what Oscar Mabuyane said about the road network, I just shook my head in disbelief. I'm a sixth generation son of the soil of the Eastern Cape. I love the Eastern Cape. I've committed the best part of my life to the Eastern Cape, and I'm proud to once more commit 5 years of my life, Mr. President, to serving the people of the Eastern Cape. I've identified 6 primary areas. There are many, many more, believe me, but I've identified 6 primary areas that would enjoy my focus. First of all, educational revitalization. We can't build a successful province or country without proper education. I will ensure that we allocate and use all available resources to meet the minimum standards prescribed in the South African Schools Act, because the schools in the Eastern Cape do not meet those standards. I will make sure that we prevent the return of unspent funds to Treasury. You can't believe how many hundreds of millions of rands are sent back to Treasury in the Eastern Cape. I will make sure that school infrastructure grant funding is spent properly. I went to a school last year and the beginning of this year to go and check if there's any progress. Ngobeni School just outside East London. It was supposed to have had a new school built in 2017. It's about halfway built. It has stopped. No building has taken place for the last 6 years. They have 8 temporary or portable toilets for 800 learners. Those are the conditions that the pupils of the Eastern Cape are expected to study under. We have to eradicate mud schools and pit latrines, and we have to stop cadre looting. The only reason why we haven't been able to do that to date is that the cadres eat the money that they're supposed to use to build proper sanitation for schools in the Eastern Cape. We need to provide transport for learners that live more than 10 kilometers away from schools. I've been intimately involved in an incident in St. Francis Bay in the Kocha municipality where the community of Sea Vista, and I took Mr. Mashaba there 2 weeks ago. The community of Sea Vista do not have a high school. The nearest high school is 21 kilometers away in Humansdorp. The children have to walk to Humansdorp. The Premier of the Eastern Cape said, transport to education is a privilege, not a right. 21 kilometers. So the children must do a half marathon to get to school and a half marathon to get back to school. That is simply unacceptable, and it's not a privilege. It is a right that needs to be given to the children. You know why? Those children fall out of school. They are not counted when they calculate the matric pass rate. We have the highest attrition of dropout in the country, and we breastbeat about an 81% pass rate when they don't count the kids that started school and measure those that finish school. So those figures are just hollow. They don't mean anything. We need to get that right, and we need to fix education. Crime prevention. You know, it's beyond my comprehension that Umtata and Nelson Mandela Bay have now become the crime capitals of violent crime in the whole country. Beyond my comprehension. They used to be a peaceful province, harmonious, peaceful, rural province. Our police are under-resourced, they're underpaid, they are poorly led, and they have low morale. They lack discipline, and they lack self-respect. Our police stations are dilapidated. I went to the Mount Fletcher police station. It's been under rehabilitation and reconstruction for 10 years. The officers still work in temporary, ramshackle offices after 10 years. Stock theft is a blight in our province. Why? We have no border management. We do not have any South African sovereignty in the Eastern Cape. Mr. President, I went to a place called Dili Dili, just upstream from the Telebridge main border post. At Dili Dili on payday, Sasa payday, people from the village in Lesotho cross the river, swollen rivers, on horseback, and when the river's low, in motor cars. And on the South African side, there's a massive board bigger than this. It says Sasa. They cross the river with their South African identity cards, they draw their Sasa, they buy products and walk back into Lesotho. We have no home affairs in this country. We have no sovereignty in this country, and no country can afford that. The next issue is infrastructure resilience, the repair and maintenance of our province's roads and stormwater networks. I listened to the president saying that the roads in the Eastern Cape are just like Tintswalo or right. The roads in the Eastern Cape are untrafficable in rural areas. People can't get to school. People can't get to hospitals. Ambulance services can't get to people who need them. It is a dream. It's a fantastical dream that we have to fix the roads of the Eastern Cape. We need to better manage our water losses. We're a water scarce province, Mr. President, and we lose more than 50% of our water through leakages and non-revenue losses. Non-revenue losses is water theft. Water theft, using it without paying for it. We need to revitalize our provincial rail networks. Our rail does not work in the Eastern Cape. No people or products are transferred or transported in the Eastern Cape on rail. Manganese coming from the Northern Cape is coming into the Eastern Cape and to the port of Muga and Port Elizabeth, and now going to be sent to East London. They are destroying our road network, those trucks. Thousands and thousands of trucks on a daily basis. Mr. President, we have to end vandalization of key economic infrastructure and civic facilities that has become endemic in the Eastern Cape. I took you to the Allen Ridge Hall. You saw a building that used to be iconic. It looks like something out of a war zone. But schools and clinics and hospitals and anything you can imagine that is state-owned is vandalized and decrepit in the Eastern Cape. I will prioritize effective and efficient wastewater management. Why? Because our rivers and our coastline is being infiltrated by the most unimaginable volumes of raw, untreated sewage. That doesn't only compromise the environment, it compromises the health of the people of the Eastern Cape, and it can possibly destroy our agricultural export industry. If you export products that have E. coli contamination, the competing countries of the world want to find that with Eastern Cape products and prohibit the exportation of Eastern Cape products. Once that happens, unemployment will go through the roof, Mr. President. So, last but not least, I want to talk about agriculture. We need to ensure the diversification of our province's economy. Motor manufacturing, tourism, and agriculture are the main drivers of job creation in our province, and they're not achieving what they should be achieving. We will design and support through a professional and capable, qualified extension service, area-specific sustainable crop and livestock production. Too many projects simply failed due to the lack of proper planning, support, and leadership in the Eastern Cape. Former MEC of Agriculture and Minister of Agriculture, Gugi Leanquinti, said in Parliament that 90% of agricultural projects fail in South Africa. I would hazard that it's much higher than that in the Eastern Cape. Mr. President, we have 3 ports in the Eastern Cape. They need to be effective and efficient to transport and transfer our manufactured products and our primary agricultural products such as meat, fiber, and perishable products, citrus and deciduous fruits. If they aren't, we cannot survive in the Eastern Cape. However, the South African ports are the worst performing in the whole world as far as productivity is concerned. In a recent World Bank survey, our 3 biggest ports are the 3 worst performing in the world, yet Oscar Mabuyane claimed this week that the 3 ports of the Eastern Cape are the best in the country. They might be the best in the country, but they are the worst in the world, and that's just simply not good enough. Why? Because if you can't load perishable products onto a ship on time, quickly, and maintain a cold chain, when that fruit arrives in its international destinations, it's already compromised. And it drives businesses and farmers into bankruptcy. I want to conclude with an extract from the good book, the Bible. Proverbs 12, verse 23, and I quote, "Those who work their land will have abundant food, but those who chase fantasies have no sense," close quote. Nor food, my words. And that is what the Eastern Cape is like. The people do not work the land, they have no food, and they have no sense. So it's time for the people of the Eastern Cape to use their sense, vote for change, vote for Action SA, and to work their land. Only action can fix the Eastern Cape. Thank you.
Siyabulela Mhlekazi. I will try my best to compete, but I unfortunately cannot in that universe. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Congratulations to each and every one of you. I know that you are going to do us proud, and I know that you are going to work as hard as you have committed to. So Mhlekazi, congratulations to you as well. Congratulations to you as well, Mr. President, for having found the individuals that will take us through this election. We'll now open for questions. Please state the house that you represent, your name, as well as the person you intend for the question to be answered by. Okay, I'll take 2 rounds in the first go, and then also we will open for individual interviews at the end of the session, if you like. So please go ahead.
Tabiso Goba from Eyewitness News. Just a couple of questions from me. I just want to know, just obviously for clarity, what was the process of choosing your premier candidates? This obviously just applies to all your premier candidates, not just these ones before us. And I want to ask about your members of provincial legislature. There was a memo that came out saying that for someone from Action SA to qualify to become a candidate or stand for provincial legislature, they had to raise a certain money. I think it was around 250,000. And I just want to ask, does that not maybe limit in terms of who can stand for MPL in Action SA, in terms of maybe a community organizer doesn't have access to capital to raise that kind of money? And my last question is, obviously, I'd say there's a deliberate intention in terms of having these 3 provinces announced together. I think all 3 of them are pretty much ANC strongholds, and they are some of the worst run. They have some of the worst run municipalities in the country. I just want to know, what is the realistic target of actually, what is the realistic target in these provinces? Because I think we all know Eastern Cape, Mpumalanga, Free State, pretty much strong ANC strongholds. So those are just my 3 questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Ziniko? Is there somebody else? Sam, please can you assist Ziniko?
Ziniko Mashaba from Newsroom Africa. My question is for Ntate Mashaba. Realistically, at the national level, Mr. Mashaba, what are you aiming for? And what is your data? What is it telling you? Your research that you've done, but also in terms of the people that Action SA will be deploying to lead. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, no, I was referring to you. So my first question was for Mr. Mashaba in terms of the target of the party, right? And yes. Secondly, in terms of the people that the party is meaning or is planning to deploy, in addition to what Mr. Koba asked, but in terms of how many are coming from the ranks of Action SA, and what tools are being used, considering the fact that Action SA will be embarking on this provincial and national agenda for the very first time. So what are the tools of selecting those, in addition to the question that Mr. Koba asked?
Okay.
How much of that is coming from the ranks of the parties?
Okay. Great. Anyone else? Okay, so I think that in terms of the targets that are national, Mr. Mashaba, you'll take that. And then the targets that are provincial, I think you can speak for yourselves, Premier candidates, in terms of what your targets will be. The candidate issue, Mr. Mashaba, I think you should take that one. And then you'll couple that with Ziniko's rank and file question.
Thank you very much, Tabiso and Zineko. I think fortunate enough, the questions you've asked are our daily bread. Just really nothing new that would really give us sleepless nights. And I think they are appropriate questions for South Africans to engage on. I think just to really remind you, perhaps people forget some of these issues. ActionSA is a brainchild of a project called the People's Dialogue, launched on the 6th of December 2019 after resigning as the mayor of the city of Johannesburg. I did not realize at the time that serving as a mayor of the city of Johannesburg for 3 years had made an impact on South Africans, because all of a sudden I was asked to start a political party. But before starting a political party, I needed to engage to establish whether these people calling for us to start a political party, are they genuine people? So I think that for me was important, and I think it's important for you guys to really have a context. Then 2.4 million South Africans 3 months later gave us 2.4 million, gave us the mandate. For me, at the time, I said to my colleagues and my family, I said, for 500,000, anything under 500,000, I'm not going to proceed. 5 times the number that I expected, resulting with the party being launched on the 29th of August 2020. So our party is only 3 years old. And I think it's important to really take our constitution into context, because people keep saying to us, even from day one, people wanted me to organize an elective conference. But now, do I have to elect the elective conference? Even my own family won't fill my own house, you know? And we put it clear when we launched the party. The constitution was that we'll have the elective conference once we have at least 60% of the branches nationwide, so that when you go to an elective conference, you are represented nationally. So I think it's something that people forget or ignored this fact. It's been there in our constitution even up to today. We committed that we will have elective conference 9 months after this upcoming election. Because what's the point of rushing to go into an elective conference when you don't have the structures? As I've indicated today, as I'm talking to you, we only covered in 42% of the branches. So we are targeting to, by the time we go to elections, to go up to 60%. In that way, you know, we can say, well, look, at 60%, it's not like a 30% pass rate of NG Mwatsegwa, you know. At least 60%, we can say, look, you know, we represent 60% of South Africans. It is there in our constitution. And our constitution, if you look at it, it allows the president of the country, whether it's me, because I'm not going to live forever. That's, you know, right now I'm an interim president of the party, and part of some of the delegations entrusted to me by Senate is to make sure that I pick up the right people to run the provinces. Firstly, to appoint them as premier candidate. Obviously, I do the assessment myself with my team, and then from that, then it goes for final ratification to Senate. That's a process we follow. And we follow exactly the same process when it comes to premier candidates. And it's there in our constitution. It's not really something that somewhere in dark rooms and smoke-filled rooms. It is there in our constitution. So the appointment of premier candidates and provincial chairperson. It's a process that is contained in our constitution. Been delegated by Senate to really look for the best in the best for each province. That's why the 3 colleagues, the 4 that we've already announced that I've mentioned. So we've got 2 more left. We had an idea today to launch, to announce Western Cape, but yesterday engaging the PC of the Western Cape said to us, guys, you know what? There's a really great opportunity for Action SA to be part of government. Please, can you give us chance to really interrogate this particular matter a bit deeper? And we're happy that you still have Gauteng to announce. We can announce it at the same time. So we follow that kind of process, and it's contained in our constitution. So if you don't trust what I'm saying, you can really then go into our constitution. In terms of a question of fundraising for candidates, I think it's interesting. At the time, it was still a debate that we were having as a party to say, you know, to qualify not as premier candidates, it was for people to be members of parliament and be MPLs. We were still having a debate to say, guys, is it not really appropriate for anyone with the aspiration to be a member of parliament to assist us as a party? Because I'm sure you guys are aware, as a party, we don't get the 1.3 billion rands of our taxes that established political parties get into parliament. So we said, can't we really give this responsibility to those aspirant to really be members of parliament or MPL, to take the responsibility to assist us? And then obviously someone took it out of context, and unfortunately with the media, you know, people take things that come from HLB, people were just talking, and you know. But at the end of the day, for us as ActionSA, you will see when we announce, when we publish our list, we've run an extensive interview process. People had to go interviews, had to write tests, and so forth and so forth. And really, one of the things that we're going to be judging people on is their ability to assist us to raise funding. But we did not really put, eventually we did not agree on the actual amount. The actual amount was part of the debate, which was not confirmed by anyone. That doesn't mean when you're in a meeting, someone come out with a suggestion and it's not carried and you take it to the media as if it's a Bible truth, you know. But one thing for sure, we are unapologetic as a party. We are asking everyone who is going to be on our list, please do your best to assist us to do fundraising, because if you are not going to assist us with fundraising, you are not going to go to parliament, because going to parliament, you need the mandate of the voters. And getting the voters is not something that you get by going to church to pray. You have to really go house to house. So if you don't have such capacity, you're not going to really be able to really be valuable to us. You won't get to parliament or be in the province. In terms of a realistic target for national, look, personally, I'd like 50 plus 1 minimum. I think, let us be honest, I'm not in politics to be a member of parliament in opposition. Honestly, I've not left my business and not earn money. I have to depend on my wife and my family to support me. So I'm not interested in being in opposition. I want 50 plus 1. That's my target. I want outright majority, and I want South Africans to give us outright majority. But is it realistic? I think one has to really be honest. It is for that reason ActionSA has committed to the multi-party charter. In the event we don't get outright majority, I think for us as ActionSA, we are unapologetic. The multi-party charter, it's an insurance that we buy in case we don't get outright majority. So that we can coalesce with other parties. But what is that number? I think I don't want to really give you an academic number, because I can tell you in the 40 years I was in business, the only time I lost money in a campaign, when I was in business, the only time I lost money, that's when I relied on research. when allowed. No, honestly, it's a fact. Where allowed my team, my marketing team and everything, give me the research, and we work purely based on research. There's only time I've lost money. But every time I've used common sense. I've created big brands just using common sense. I mean, when I started Black Like Me in 1984, I didn't have any official research. In fact, I don't know if I knew there was a thing called research. I remember the first post I produced using Yvonne Chaka Chaka. You know, Yvonne just coming out of being a superstar. You know, you do away. Yvonne was the first model to promote Black Like Me on a poster. You know what I thought at the time? I didn't know there's a thing that I've got to hire a professional photographer and there's a color separation thing. And I thought people were screwing me up. And I said, my goodness. I used a guy from Pretoria News in Pretoria, took photographs, and then I thought I'll take this to a printer to print. And they says, no, it's a very complicated kind of an approach. So I did not really have research. And I've subsequently, using common sense, I've developed mega brands in the 40 years in business. But not that I don't believe in research. I'm a very strong believer in research because it gives me an idea. But what I believe in is common sense. Honestly, in South Africa, you can't tell me that South Africans are lazy, they don't want to work. In a country where we've got 46% unemployment. When I grew up, people who did not work were those who did not work. South Africans were the most hardworking people during apartheid. Now, all of a sudden, we are told South Africans are lazy. No, South Africans needs to be given opportunities. No one can tell me the nonsense that South Africans wants to use drugs. South Africa, when I grew up, we only used to smoke Zol, Dagga was the only the drug in this country. Today, we've got international drug cartels bringing serious and dangerous drugs. Do our kids like drugs? No, our kids are vulnerable to these drug dealers. That's why I can tell you they must just pray these drug dealers that ActionSA does not come into power, because I'm telling you, they will regret ever committing crime in this country. Under ActionSA, they will regret, because some of them will be in jail and they'll be in jail forever. There will be no parole, and they are not going to get free accommodation and free meal, because these are things that I don't need research to tell me that these are things of concern. So I think in terms of the numbers, right now, as I'm talking to you, there are millions of South Africans who don't know about ActionSA. But I can tell you right now, as I'm talking to you, all over the country, branches every single day are open. People every day get to know about ActionSA. So do I have to give you an academic number? If you want me to give you an academic number, what is our target? Our target is outright majority.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah, it made me excited now, Mr. Mashaba. Made me very excited. Just the first question about fundraising. I want to make this very clear. Mr. Mashaba sent me to a conference in Mozambique, and there were countries there from SADC and ECOWAS. And all of the people that I met there said that they had to pay for their own campaigns. Every single one of them, rich and poor, they all had to pay for their own campaigns. Many democracies in the world, if you're a candidate for election, you've got to pay for your own campaign. Simple as that. So we don't hide away from the fact that we expect candidates, especially electable candidates, to be part of fundraising. We do not get statutory funding. We need to run a campaign. We need to run a party. We are unapologetic about that. I'm very pleased, sir, that you said that the 3 provinces that have been announced today must have been strategic because they're the worst run. It's an indisputable fact. These are the worst run provinces. When I listen to my colleagues speak, when I hear the echo in my head, I know that we live in dysfunctional provinces. But you know what I also know is that we are premier candidates. We're not there to just be onopop. We are not just going to be flower pots. I remember in 2015, before the 2016 elections, the ANC said, Jesus Christ will return before Trollope becomes the mayor. Well, I was the mayor. And Jesus Christ has not returned yet. So nothing is impossible, and we're going to do everything in our power to unseat these guys. Secondly, as for targets, our target also in the Eastern Cape, unimaginable as it might be, I'm not going to be appointed today, and I know these formidable women are going to be appointed today, and we're going to go and get 2%. It'll be an embarrassing failure. We're not here to fail. We're here to get as many votes as possible. And then, you know, as for our lists, wait until you see the people on our lists. The interesting thing about this party is we've become a melting pot of South Africans that come from all political backgrounds, all persuasions. None of us come out of a vacuum. We all have imvelaphi, yepolitik. We all come from generational voting. I voted for the party of my father and my grandfather. I stopped doing that. The people seated here also voted on generational voting patterns. So when you see our lists, you will see South Africans that come from diverse political backgrounds that have had enough. What unites us, we have had enough. We are not going to endure the kind of government that we see in our provinces, and we are committed to changing that. What we get at the end of the day, we'll see when we counted the votes. But I'm inspired. When my president says 51, I'm in for 51%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yes, we're all 51%. We're not here to be in the 2%. So we're all in 51.
All right. Okay, so thank you very much. I think all the questions have been answered. We want 50 plus 1. I think anything less than that. You know, when I was in school, my mother was a teacher, and she would always say, how do you get yourself into the A bracket? How do you get an A in your exams? And of course, I don't know how I get an A. My answer was study hard. The answer was aim for 100.
Yeah.
The reality is if you fall, and 100% is knowing 100% of your work. So if you know 100% of your work, physically, there's no way, realistically, there's no way you can drop below that 10%. So you can only drop between 100 and 95, 82, that's it. For you to get into the 70s, actually it's not possible if you've learned 100% of your work. So because we want to get the highest, you know, also they say the law of attraction, you must go for what you want, otherwise you land wherever you said you were going to land.
Yeah.
So we are going to run for 50 plus 1, as the president and all of my colleagues have pronounced. Wherever we land, and we'll figure it out when we've landed. But for now, we're flying high. Thank you all so much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate all of the time being so responsive to us. We are open for one-on-ones if you would like. My colleague will assist in terms of coordinating that. But with that said, it is a good afternoon, and thank you all very much.
Thank you.